Super House of Den Ninjas is a game I played when I was a wee little boy. It was one of those obscure childhood games that I don't know how or where it came from. I didn't even remember until a couple months ago that game exists. As I've been playing, I've accumulated over 60 hours and I'm here to give my thoughts about it. Let's start. I hope you enjoy the intro, by the way, because this took me a million years. Maybe I'll talk about the wrath that the creative process brought me, like a behind the scenes video or something, like a Patreon, maybe? Money, maybe? Maybe? When you start the game, I highly recommend you read the in-game comics since it gives you context, a free item, and the art looks cool. Otherwise, your starting items are katana, shurikens, bombs, and magic. Your sword is used to kill the low-level enemies that are directly in front of you. The hitbox is short, but you whip this thing out instantly, so it's good to use it when you're passing by enemies instead of something like bossing, or two-hit enemies, I guess. The shurikens, on the other hand, are basically ranged katanas. When you throw them, they bounce off the enemy and you can pick them up again. The fire rate for this thing is as fast as you can press, so these things are solid for both floor progression and bossing. By the way, when I make claims like this, don't treat it as hard truth, like I looked in the code or something. I'm basing off what I say from my experience. So just keep that in mind. My experience for the bombs, they're the bomb, I guess. They're used to take out hazards like statues, spikes, destroyable walls, etc. A cool thing about the bombs is that you can throw them and while they're detonating, you can hit it with your melee weapon and it goes flying. You can do epic stuff with this, mostly just for style points, but who doesn't want to look cool? I want to look cool. By the way, you better like that bomb joke because that was written into the script. I didn't do that at the moment, so. I thought that was a good idea at one point. Lastly, magic. The base magic ability does a flaming wall of death. Well, a vertical flame wall of death, and it destroys the flimsy walls, enemy statues, and of course killing every single non-boss enemy it touches in one hit. It's kinda like a bomb, but like not a bomb, a vertical bomb, I don't know. And now that I think about it, it doesn't really look like a flaming wall of death, it looks like a lightning wall of death. Oh, weird. What you guys think? Okay, my friend is taking a shower right now, hopefully this doesn't impact the recording. I'm looking at the waveform, it doesn't seem to be, so let's hope that this works. Anyways. To be honest, I don't really use the basic magic skill that much, or at least for damage reasons, but I'll get to that later. These weapons are representative of the weapon classes, so there's melee, ranged, explosive, and magic. So instead of a katana, you can choose to have a whip, or instead of a shuriken, you get a freaking gun. It's awesome. There are tons of different arsenal you can choose from, but just because a weapon is hard to unlock, doesn't mean that it's necessarily better, like it has massively better stats or something. It depends on your playstyle. And I guess how good you are at choosing the items for your playstyle. You might be wondering why I went through a half-baked analysis of the starter items, and the reason is, I want to. I guess to also encourage potential viewers to try out the game themselves and donate to my Patreon? I guess you're pondering the thought of how you refill your resources, and crazily, if you're not skipping my editing and actually watch the video, you know that you have limited resources. No need to ask though, I got you. These are the different ways you can get them. From crates, enemies, bosses, the Smither skeleton room, certain walls, the ground, and fortunately for me, getting hit. There's a bit of randomness to it. Well, the placements stay the same, but the quality of the items can vary. It can range from a resource like shurikens or a power-up that makes you immune to spikes. One could say there's a bit of difference there, but all rooms are consistently doable without power-ups. You just need to know the nuances of your abilities. And speaking of your abilities, freaking nailed that segue. Let's talk about it. First, it's important to know that these skills are independent of your gear loadout and are useful to all players just in case you get into a situation where you can't rely on power-ups or gear. I'll progressively list them, but you have access to all of them when you start the game, so you don't have to unlock them. First skill is wall grabbing. You can use this to slowly descend while attached to a wall and wall jump. I commonly use this when I'm in tight situations and need to slow down to focus. Sometimes it's required for certain rooms, but I personally don't use it that much. Second, high jump. I also don't use this that much, but it's still helpful in specific situations, like if you want to go up a floor or to dodge attacks, right? Third, The most important one in my opinion, so important to influence the core gameplay, is the down attack. Why do I say that? Well, I'll explain because that's kind of what I've been doing so far and I've got to put my non-existent Patreon budget to use, right? If you've been keeping track, this is my third Patreon joke, so I wonder what the end of the video is going to be talking about. The down attack is the most consistently devastating attack in the entire game. As a base arsenal user, which is someone that mainly uses the starting gear, my melee weapons becomes nearly obsolete since the down attack has a larger hitbox and it one-shots all non-boss enemies in the game. The down attack is much easier to use for general mobbing, so your melee weapon now gets reserved for specific encounters and it functions closer to a tool rather than a weapon. There's also an ability that triggers if you kill enemies in a short amount of time using your melee or the down attack, or I guess just kill them up close. It's called Rage Mode. When it triggers, you kill enemies instantly with your melee and range attack, though only the melee attack recharges it, like keeps the bar up. A side ability about the magic, if you use it, you get invincibility frames for a while, like when you get hit, so you can use it to bypass certain hard rooms, like if you don't want to deal with them, or if the Grim Reaper thing is chasing you and you get trapped in a corner or something. Speaking of Grim Reaper thing, nailed that transition again. If I could give myself a high five, I would. But I'm not gonna do that because, I don't know. Let's move on to the core gameplay and story. You mainly play as a Crimson Ninja, Nintai Ryoko, and she's looking for answers. Answers for what? Who knows? Well, I know because I played the game and beat it on the hardest difficulty. Slight flex, I know, but let me have this. She heads into a tower where it's rumored to house great riches or great power. It's said that a one-armed ninja also traversed here, but when he went to the tower, he was never seen again. Also, the name of the place you're going to is called the Ziggurat of Infinium. Don't know what it means, but it sounds awesome. You access the tower through the roof, and then your objectives are to get to the bottom. The gameplay loop is this. You go down semi-randomly generated floors while a timer is constantly ticking down. You reset the timer through picking up certain collectibles that always spawn after a couple of floors, through certain rooms, or certain enemies can drop it if you're lucky. And actually no, I think all enemies can drop it, but you just need to be lucky with their drops. If you don't pick them up, they'll spawn an unkillable, wall-phasing red Grim Reaper. You can outrun them though and get to the next time reset. There are also specific situations where it gets reset, like taking damage, getting into Smither chest room, or boss rooms. Every 100 floors or so, the game flips a coin between two bosses and makes you fight one of them. Except for the final or third bosses, which are always going to be the same. Now, spoiler alert, I will be showing the end of the game. So if you want to play it, please go do and play it, because since like the ending of the game, the end of the game is not necessarily like the most wow thing ever, right? But I still like really like it for how low-key the ending is. But I don't know, I'll explain later. That probably doesn't make sense. If you can't tell, I'm going off script by the way, so yeah. When you get to the final bosses, you first fight the one-armed ninja. He's invulnerable to range attacks, or at least the shurikens. Even then, he's only vulnerable when he's about to do a lightning sword attack where he flashes yellow. Otherwise, good luck with beating him. When you do, Abergus spawns, the demon who has been controlling the ninja. You better have extra lives to spare since this boss has a lot of health and has finicky attacks. I guess just like any boss, but this boss just has a lot of health. This boss's attacks are not the hardest, but it tests your endurance. I love it when in games that you fight a boss to get to another boss without time to catch your breath or get a small reprieve. It's my favorite part in games. I love that. I'm just exaggerating, it's not that bad. If you beat him though, you get an option to determine the fate of the one-armed ninja. Abergus, now separated from his host, says, "Crimson Ninja, I am Abergus, whatever, the spirit of the tower. You have separated me from the body of the one-armed ninja, and now my control over him fades. For that, even I commend you. Though he has long since lost his life to the tower, his spirit resides still in what remains of his body. You have two choices. If you still feel the need to honor his achievements in life, you may take him to your village and do whatever it is that humans see fit to do with the fallen. If you feel he has still not atoned for his sins, I shall cast him to the depths of hell, where he will spend an eternity in agony. I chose to forgive him and leave the tower. As the credit sequence plays, you get to see the Crimson Ninja carrying him as one of the best soundtrack in the game plays. As she buries him and ponder over his grave, she says, "Though you deserted me in search for material wealth, I came to return you to the place you were most needed. You are forgiven, Father." This part gives me goosebumps. A nice little sequence to tie the end of the game. That's only one of the endings though, and there's still other content that's available, like boss rush mode, making your own level, and other levels with a similar structure of the campaign that should be straightforward to unlock. I might have said how to unlock one of them during this video. You'll need a keen eye and brain to figure it out though. Well, not really, it's not that hard, but to figure it out from this video, I guess. There's still a lot of content here that I haven't touched, but I suggest you find that out for yourself. The game's only 12 Canadian dollars with the DLC. By the way, for anyone that knows the game, I completed the 1000 floors challenge on Ninja mode with the upgraded nunchucks, dynamite, upgraded axe, and the default magic skill in that one level. I'm proud of that moment. Anyways, thanks for chiming in. And now, I'll let the other me speak about the definitely not referenced Patreon.
Hello, my darlings. It is I, Preston, I guess. So yeah, I'm just here to talk about just a bunch of stuff. Not just Patreon. Like, I'm just not gonna talk about Patreon. I'm gonna talk about a bunch of other stuff too. And if you can't tell, this is off script. So this is editing me is gonna cut a lot of stuff out because I tend to stutter and go all over the place. And you know, as you saw, like I stutter sometimes when even reading a script, so you know, it's nice. So yeah, I'm here to talk about the Patreon. If you wanna, I guess, encourage me to keep making videos, I suggest that you donate like, I don't know, $2 or something. And yeah, that's it. Like, if you want to encourage me to do this more often, yeah, please go support my Patreon. I would really appreciate it because money is cool. Also because I'm broke college student, so that would be cool. And you know, like seriously, thank you for watching the video and watching this section. I mean, who stays for this section? Well, I do. I'm pretty sure other people do, to be honest. I'm just making that up. But yeah, thank you so much for watching the video and watching it all the way through. I really appreciate it. I worked really hard on this. Like, I already have a busy workload for my like studies, so I really appreciate you watching this. And you know, anyways, my friend is making something outside like outside my room, like in the kitchen. But my roommate, I mean, well, we are friends. I don't know, but anyways, thank you so much for chiming in, and hopefully I'll see you in another video.